Рады приветствовать вас на главной сцене.
We're happy to welcome you back to the main stage of AIJ 2025. It's time for a business session with the AI Alliance to discuss the unlocking of AI potential and overcoming key barriers to business adoption. Please welcome to the stage Chairman of the Supervisory Board of AI Alliance Russia, Alexander Vedyakhin. Tigran Khudaverdian, Yandex. Stanislav Bliznyuk, T Technologies. Vladimir Verkhoshinsky, Alfa-Bank. Vasily Nomokonov, Sibur. And Andrey, Belevtsev, Sber.
Добрый день, дорогие друзья.
Good afternoon, dear friends. Happy to see you all in the audience and happy to see everyone watching us online. A very warm welcome to our partners, members of AI Alliance. I am here in a slightly different role. I'm here as a chairman of the Supervisory Board of AI Alliance. It is a rotation role. Every year we have a new chairman. We can at least have a new chairman. And we have gathered here today to talk about the way... No, let me start again. To talk about how AI is already being implemented, and we will talk about maybe not problems, they ask me not to say the word problems, but challenges. The challenges that we're facing today. You know, it's an interesting thing. We have leading companies, and then we have companies that are overall interested, but are not very good at it yet. When we look at the public landscape, it looks great. We have leaders who do everything without any mistakes, without any problems. They know solutions in advance. And then there are those who are lagging behind. So we have agreed with the colleagues that we will be talking about the challenges, the difficulties, the decisions that we've been making, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. And to give this conversation a structure, let's start with this bit of research or a survey that we conducted within the Alliance, where we asked companies in industry that participate in industry clubs, we asked them what are the main limitations for AI use. More than 150 participants in the survey named the following key barriers. The first key barrier for large-scale AI adoption is people. Competencies, culture, engagement, that sort of thing. Second, infrastructure, data, computing, security, and cybersecurity, something that we need to talk about. Investment or return on investment. There's a dialogue within each company on how much you invest and what is the ROI that you need to target. How do you convince the financial services, the owner of the company that it's needed? Ethics, regulation, rules of the game, trust in AI, and strategy, the goal setting that comes down from the CEO, and everything that has to do with KPIs and organizational structure. It's hard to deliver results without it. We are beginning with barrier number one, people. Before I ask my question to Stanislav Bliznyuk, I would like to turn to all of the speakers and say that we have a free mic. We have known each other for a long time, and so let's have an informal conversation, an informal discussion. If you have anything to add, if you disagree, if you want to interject, please go ahead and do so. Take the mic. This is a free conversation in front of a wide audience, but still. So, Stas, the first question is for you. As I said, I've been to your office several times to T Technologies, and it has always impressed me the way you treat people there. Every detail is very meticulously thought out. The way your employees, their workstations are located, how you work with each other. You have a lot of data scientists, and it looks as if you didn't have any talent shortages. I apologize to everyone here from Sber, but it feels like everyone wants to work for the yellow companies, T-Bank or Yandex. Okay, Sasha, we've agreed to adhere to the program. All colors matter: yellow, green, even blue. Okay. What's the color of Sibur, by the way? Green. Oh. Okay, so we're outnumbering them, the green ones. Okay, Stas, maybe you can answer the question. Well, thank you for the kind words. I agree that one of the key questions, one of the key issues is indeed talent and people. We are here to share experience, so the problem of human capital is twofold. All technologies and innovations require people who we didn't start cultivating 10 years ago, data scientists, AI staff, AI experts. We can say that we do not really have such a big problem with people, but actually we do have the problem because there's not enough experts. They are cultivated not by educational institutions, but rather by companies who invest in it, invest in training. But what we're lacking is people experts. I'm sure we'll get back to the educational topic, but that's just part of the problem. Another part of this human capital problem is leaders, managers who are often older and who often are unsure about the necessity to invest in this technology. So we are lacking people who can execute it, and then people who can prioritize these issues do not do that sometimes. In big tech, in fintech companies, the top management and linear management, they may have a good understanding of what should be done about it, but then there are companies who are lagging behind, who do not have this clear understanding. All of these industries try to come together to work out a solution. This will create demand, and then the market will respond with supply, with experts. I think this will give rise to a brand new industry. Back in the day, we had an IT boom, and then IT integrators came out of it. I think this will be a similar situation. We will have consulting companies that will heed to the demands of a company or an industry to automate this or that process. They will encourage them to automate, to adopt, and increase value. So this will be a push towards creating talent, and then we will be trying to retain all of these talented people here in Russia for all kinds of interesting tasks. I think it's fair, but we do have the push. We don't have the people. I'm going to ask Vasily to comment on this. We have people from fintech companies, from Yandex, and a person from the industry.
голос раздается следующий, что товарищи финтехи, бигтехи,
So what I'm hearing is that people from big techs, fintechs, you can engage all kinds of specialists. We do not really believe in it, but we have our own competition. But where do you find
достойного уровня
specialists of a good enough level
без суперзавышенных зарплат?
without super inflated salaries?
Вы нашли на него ответ?
Vasily, have you found an answer to this question? Yes, but the answer depends on how you ask the question. I would divide it into several parts. The first is that to develop AI, you need a platform. You can start by looking for people in the market to build it over a certain period of time, or you can try to find a partner, a big tech company or a telecom company or a similar one. This is our path, and you can save time and money. In this situation, you don't have to look for the people in the market. As Stas said, this model is attractive because you can replicate this experience to other companies, not necessarily in our own industry. It can be capital-intensive industries with continuous production in steelworks, for example. Then again, you need agents, you need a lot of coding, and for that you can use startups who are narrowly specialized to deliver specific cases, so you don't really need to hire these people as full-time employees. Next, engineers. We don't need that many engineers, actually. I want to compliment people here because they are doing a great job cultivating these talented people, but it's hard to find your niche in the market. But you're always able to find people who find the tasks in your company interesting and challenging, and you try to engage them. And lastly, it's not just about IT people, but all kinds of technology people. You also need people in business units who generate ideas. You can't generate an idea on how to use an LLM if you do not know anything about an LLM. A few things help here to improve personal performance. People are pretty knowledgeable, they like to expand their horizons. The vectors for using these tools can be manifold, but we need to be able to manage it. What kind of data can you use in the cloud, for example? We need rules here. In terms of changes in processes, in addition to improving your performance, our company, for example, is very centralized. When we were catching up with best practices in operational efficiency, it was an advantage because you could replicate them fast. Now with AI, the centralized model also pays off because it's easier to replicate. I also wanted to add a compliment to Sibur because they are actively engaged with educational projects. When we were creating the Central University, we were creating it for all our partners. It now has 60 partners there. Sibur was one of the first partners to answer the call, and they're organizing all kinds of internships and training programs. They even have a co-working area there. It was, as I saw, rather easy for you because you are used to engaging with the younger audience because you believe this is the right thing to do. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking at Tigran, who looks very pensive. Yandex was among the first companies to start working with data scientists actively, with IT specialists. Tigran, how do you handle this? Do you experience any talent deficit? I don't live that far away from Yandex HQ, or at least I used to, right before you moved to a different place, and I saw these many young people walking around with Raspberry rafts. How do you retain them? How do you track them? Good afternoon. I think for all of us sitting here on stage and in general in Russia, I think we are not the ones to complain about staff deficit. We are at the top of the list of countries, top 3, top 5, top 7 countries. It doesn't really matter the quantity, but at the top of the list, at the top of the rating of countries with a lot of super talented specialists. I think the colleagues will agree. It's just a fact. Yandex, Sber, T-Bank, we all have a lot of great specialists, but speaking of problems, maybe we will discuss this today. In order to turn AI from a toy into something of actual benefit to humanity, and yesterday we talked a lot about this problem where the children do their homework by delegating it to AI, so it's harmful rather than beneficial. It's a harmful toy. So how do you turn it from a toy to something useful and beneficial? Specialists, experts, people who are passionate about it, driving forward thousands and thousands of projects across the country in fintech, in Yandex as well. This is the challenge for all of us. Actual beneficial use. The ability to say that, yes, in our company, in this business, in this line of work, we are achieving a significant share of benefit thanks to AI. So how do you motivate people? How do you retain people? I think you deviated hugely from the answer. I think it's obvious whether you're at the center of it or just a bystander. I'm sure you will agree that we are witnessing maybe the biggest technological revolution in our history. Not smaller than computers or the internet or smartphones, and that alone is more than enough to motivate people, I think. And I think it's motivating all of us sitting here as well. We've come here because we're motivated because of it.
We have Alpha and Sber, right? I select Alpha. Okay, our brand color is red. Yeah, the first deputy chairman of Supervisory. Sber is flanking this panel discussion. The red one is in the center, and the representatives of yellow colors, all the rest. And yeah, the green one is here, obviously. So anyway, sorry, the people. How do you plan to retain people? AI, unfortunately, is something very expensive. I mean, only big and efficient corporations, like the corporations that we represent, can engage in AI. There's no problem with talent. Russia has a lot of talented people, and all of us were able to learn how to build great office spaces with food courts, with fitness centers. 20 or 15 years ago, even a decade ago, that was absolutely outlandish, but now it is a standard, and now we compete for these people. We pay high salaries, but this is kind of the common thing. You cannot retain people with that. But I think culture is the most important thing. In Sibur, in Yandex, in Sber, in T-Bank, the culture is special. For us, we're building the culture for the smart ones and the free ones. And not everyone are in line with this culture, but those who get there, these are the creative young people who are there, who are in line. In Yandex, Tigran, he's a very big boss at Yandex. Have you seen him on the street? You know, he's just using the underground, the metro, and wearing a backpack. You know. And I remember my colleague from another bank comes from S-class Mercedes, and me too. I came on a car, on a fancy car, and you know. But he just said, "Okay, bye, guys," and just jumped in the tube. Sber, yeah, in Sber we have a different culture. Yeah, it is a different culture, but I think the digital leaders in Russia now have exciting tasks and their own authentic culture, and you know that goes outside of the box of smoothies and fitness centers. And you know, I mean, this is how these digital giants work. Thank you. What about Sber? What's Sberbank do to retain people? What are the things you don't know about that? Well, you know, I'm asking you as a president of the Supervisory Board of AI Alliance. You know, I would build on that question, and we'll talk about a challenge. You know what we are facing right now? We are developing fundamental models. Based on these models, right now, we have more than 500 initiatives. These are the teams that are actively developing the products, and as well as the agent systems across the perimeter of Sber. And then we can see that when we start to create this agent system, data scientists are not interested, because do you need to train the model? Okay, no. Okay, you'll work it out yourself. Developers are also not very excited, and they say, okay, I mean, something complicated code, something challenging code, that would be great, but like do something routine with the model? No, that's not interested, not excited. But neither of these can finish and complete the task, because sometimes you need to optimize the speed, the model, to properly work with the data. And, you know, this is kind of an area that is between the two areas, between the two industries. Neither developers nor data scientists can do it properly, by the way. So, you know, during this year, we were investing in some patents. If you look at the start of the year, there were no best practices on how to implement these large systems in the large corporate landscape. There was just some simple cases like developer chatbot. But if you talk about the serious landscape with the scalability, with the reliability, the speed, the security and trust, there were no frameworks like that. And basically, for the entire year, we were experimenting, you know, with trials and errors. You know, we're looking at some cases, and we're trying to understand what works, what not. When we understand that something works in a stable fashion, we try to share it, because the knowledge and the skills should be shared across the market. I do not want to say it's a new profession, but these are new skills for the new profession. You know, I remember the era when the mobile apps was just started to be developed. You know, that was a major challenge back then. Now it's a routine task, but people were saying, okay, well, how do you develop a mobile app? They didn't know that, and it was just recently. We're at the same spot right now. It's a new tech stack. You need to learn how to work with it. It's not bad, it's not good, it's not more difficult or less difficult, you just have to learn it. We see another example on the profession, because a year ago, futurologists were saying that prompt engineer will be the new profession, will be a new job. I mean, a year ago they were saying this is going to be a totally new job, and now it's laughable, really. If anyone has hired prompt engineers, you can fire them. They're not needed. So I agree with Tigran. Something that happened during my entire career in technologies, and these skills, you know, they're totally new. They're very exciting, and we are exchanging information in terms of how do you find people who are doing these things. Thank you. I can give you an example. A son of my friend is studying at the Higher School of Economics. He got the internship at Sber, without my participation, by the way. And he calls me and asks, okay, where should I go in Yandex, in search or driverless vehicles? He says, this is a cool organization, and they given me the middle level position. And I say, well, go to the search. I would go to the driverless. Well, you are motivated to work on Sber. I have heard your presentation. Now, I mean, it's the general thing. And I would say that it's something good here. Because we train young people and they're here, and I would like to thank everyone present here in terms of for what are they doing, for their learning. And I would ask maybe to say what is your contribution to the market. You're talking about the new talent, right, Tigran? That's an exciting and promising story. Yandex, for many years, for like more than 10 years, have been investing in the data analysis school. I'm not going to be humble here, but today I think on the global landscape it's one of the top MA programs for data scientists in the world. And this data analysis school is not fully connected to Yandex. I mean, some people graduated and go to other companies. The graduates, I think like 1/3 goes to Yandex. We have many graduates working with Sber, by the way, yeah, and we are really happy to take them. Yeah, because this is a top of the top, really. We have a joint project with Sber, AI 360. This is a specialized program based on a number of top Russian universities. Together with Sber and these universities, we are selecting the students who are excited about that, about AI, and they have a good foundation, they have good mathematical skills, and this is a specialized educational program for these kids, for these students. I can talk about that at length. We have our own analysis school, and we have a joint program with Sber and many other programs with other universities. I think all the other panelists will join me here because the Russian financial companies have been investing a lot in the education and have been doing that for a number of years. So this reversal is really something that is happening. I think that it used to be the case that IT was the priority, and now it's AI, and the new programs are focused on AI, exactly on AI. Thank you, Stanislav. Why big tech or fintech in Russia is great? Because we have some excitement and drive to do something new. And as Tigran is saying, we are living through the revolution, and we're having this paradigm shift. And as paradigm shifts happen, the new products appear. And if you're a large company, you have this effect from the operational involvement. You have implemented something, you improved something by 0.5%, and you got like billions saved or earned, whatever. So we have a lot of tasks, and when young professionals join our team, you give them these tasks, they can experiment and create something. And I think this is very important because that really drives the skill to learn. And we have this full layer of AI native employees, engineers. They are now being trained not by universities but by large IT companies. And many companies started to invest on the level of schools or competitions. Yandex MA program is fantastic. We have a lot of employees from that school. We had a couple of courses on fintech and coding, and now we have launched a big central university project. The main idea is that we grow product experts, analysts, developers, ML experts, who know how to leverage the today's knowledge to improve the process and products, and in all areas, in all industries. So this is not a corporate university, but this is a school that helps them to work in various industries. So they're going to drive this client centricity, high-tech culture. By the way, kids, it is all based on mathematics. All AI is based on mathematics, coding as well. Just to learn mathematics. This is the best science in the world. Yeah, you know, mathematics is the queen of all sciences. I understand this is true. Yeah, I mean, those who are adults now, you know, this is true. I mean, in school we thought that teachers were just saying something that was not important really, but now it remained to be true. Yeah, same was for me. You know, I have two daughters. One of my daughters is in university, and she's like, she says, okay, I'm a humanities girl, and she went to the High School of Economics, and she's studying advertising. And I remember one evening, very late at night, I asked her, what are you doing? And she says, I'm writing an ML code for an API for a Telegram channel. And I said, well, sorry, but you're in an advertisement. And she says, I hate artificial intelligence. I just have to do it. So anyway, the point of the story is that you will have to learn AI, whether you want it or not. Yeah, you know, there is we open sourced Giga Agent. We put it on Gitverse. It's an open source system. It's very simple. You can ask it to use the data to train a small ML model and use it in your work. So you have an agent that is based on fundamental network, but within itself it can do something, being a pretty good data analyst, and it can train another ML model, and it can train the model to answer the questions. I will say that to my daughter. Not now, maybe. I mean, she has to learn some Python skills. Yeah. Well, since we're talking about children, boasting without children, you know, my son is in school. He's 17 years old, and he says, you know, I can now code websites with AI. And I say, well, try it out. And in 2 days, he comes to me and says, well, I earned 10,000 rubles. And I say, well, you know how to earn money now. It's hard work. And he says, no, it's just like took me half an hour. And, you know, whatever we talk about, whatever we say about gadgets and widgets and AI, I think that people will adapt, and our children will be stronger and smarter. They will work differently. They will interact with it. Well, I mean, we will be outdated. We will be grumpy granddads and grandmas who would not like that. But this is the progress. This is the natural flow of things. And if we talk about our contribution, the contribution of Alfa-Bank in the development of the youth, guys at T-Bank created a central university, a fantastic thing, fantastic project, huge respect. This is like a approach to dive deep, you know, to select the best guys and to train them. Yandex is doing the same. We have decided to unite all of our initiatives in one platform. It's called Alpha Future. It has been online for a year now. I mean, it does not have. We spent billions of rubles. We have we partner with 300 universities around the country, including ITMO in St. Petersburg and many other universities, and schools as well. And our team loves that because they tour the schools and universities, and they get motivated giving lectures. So we decided to make it a, you know, wide-scale, large-scale project. And it's great that in our country we have big techs, fintechs, and, you know, very large digital corporations that can help us to move this technology forward and to unlock human potential. Yeah, Vasily was kind of looking at us and watching our discussions. And I think in the industry, you need to have some specialized technical background. Yeah, I want to say that the engineers who are going to look at that. I mean, I wear two hats, and I have one of the hats is the Alliance of Specialized Professions. And for example, there we discuss what program should be selected for chemical engineers. And I think with the special education, we were able to achieve some great results. We have formulated what we need for the higher education, but the future engineer should know how to use models for the modeling of the production line, should know how to use drones or other driverless vehicles in the production. They need to understand how to use predictive diagnostics, and together the community of the businesses and the engineers and the state institutions, we have developed the programs to make sure that engineers can use AI in their everyday world. Yeah, talking about the education, we said that we invest a lot in education, but the question is not about the money and the investments. But the question is about the talent in the educational program, in the educational system, because if a person works in the industry, he knows what to give you in terms of the content. It's very pragmatic and down to earth, and I think it's a great trend when large companies allow their employees to read lectures and lead seminars and workshops in universities, because they're working in a company, they develop some product, and they then relay this knowledge to the younger generations. So it's like raise someone who will be like you. Great motivation. I think this will mean that there will be a lot of demand, and there is a lot of demand for these lectures of these professionals sharing their knowledge and their practical skills. Yeah, that was something that I would like to comment on as well. In Yandex, we have 30,000 people. Half of them are engineers, and 960 employees of Yandex. And this is not their direct responsibility. It's not in their job description, but they give lectures and seminars.
They also create training courses and training materials. 960 people, pretty much in their own time, outside of their direct responsibilities, engage in training in this activity of humanitarian value. And it also increases the value of an employee within the company, because there are people who enjoy teaching, and in addition to just doing a good thing, they display this loyalty to the company. Friends, to avoid turning the session into a session on just one question, because we have 38 minutes ahead and 4 sections to discuss, let's maybe speed up a little bit. The second barrier from the survey is infrastructure. 3 main problems here: problems with the quality of data, lack of computing powers, computing resources, and cybersecurity. Let's start with cybersecurity. An unexpected turn. Or maybe data? No, cybersecurity. A brief poll. When we talk to our corporate clients and tell them about AI transformation, mid-level management say that's all good and fine, but we have cybersecurity, the cybersecurity department, that say, no, it's too complicated, and then that there are a lot of nuances. Is it going to be in the cloud or on-prem? And this dialogue happens in every company, at Sber as well, obviously. It's a difficult discussion. What do you do about this? You are the decision makers of your companies. How do you delineate between moving forward progressing forward
свободным взглядом на применение моделей,
and being open-minded to the adoption of models, experiments with models, new data, etc., and the requirements of cybersecurity.
кто первый?
Anyone, please. Let me begin. I think it's akin to this question, when did you stop drinking cognac in the morning? Artificial intelligence or the transfer of data to AI is in no way a cybersecurity issue. I mean, there's this big problem. There is a revolution happening. Everyone understands that you can optimize business significantly. It requires experiments. There are no out-of-the-box solutions. None of them has it. There is no single out-of-the-box solution that you just install and there you have it. No, I mean, you can, and Alfa-Bank will be doing great, but the point is you need to experiment. And then this problem of cybersecurity comes up. The cybersecurity team that say these data cannot leave the perimeter of the company, and then it all goes to the CFO because the CFO starts asking questions, why do you need this? And the answer is, I just want to run experiments. And experiments cost tens of millions of rubles. For example, GigaChat published its huge LLM with 700 billion parameters. How much does it cost to simply run it? 700 billion. That probably cost you tens of millions of rubles, right? You're right, but we have a better idea for the colleague you're describing. There is this a TV show called Severance. You know it? So we have decided to implement this sort of severance. We have giga.chat, the public GigaChat. You go there, and then it asks you, are you using your corporate account or not? If you're using your corporate account, you can work with all kinds of corporate data, corporate files, presentations, Excel spreadsheets, etc. It's a separate environment. It has double hemispheres, a corporate one and a personal one. The interface is the same, but it's just this delineation. I understand there are several companies in Russia, Sber, Yandex, some other companies that provide cloud-based infrastructure, but it's a deadlock. Unfortunately, cybersecurity does not allow you to transmit data outwards. What can you do with this? I have no idea. I've been discussing this with one CEO of a big company, and he says, I can't imagine it either. And also, all frauds happen with all data leaks happen as a result of social engineering. When we overcome this barrier, and I hope we will, because this is a very serious barrier, I hope everyone listening to me today and doing cybersecurity in their companies, information security, we need to sit down and have a serious discussion and revise our approaches. But when AI is implemented, when it starts making decisions, that's when, in reality, we'll have new tasks, the tasks of securing your business, securing your people from decisions already made by AI. So I suggest we invest all of our bio-intelligence into trying to solve this problem, and not trying to solve the problem of someone stealing a terabyte of data from some machine. Yandex or Sber create a model, train it, and then someone steals data from a temperature sensor from the cloud. The cybersecurity problem is making people really passionate, I see. Let's look at an LLM. What is an LLM? It really is a large model, one server processing data with B200 maps, for example, you can use it to place an ultra model, one model. And then this paradox comes up. It will be working way slower in this configuration than when you place it on a superpod with several dozens of pods, several dozens of nodes. And then transfer into the cloud is inevitable. You can buy one server. It costs roughly 50 million rubles. You can't work with just one. You need to have a backup. And then the check is 100 million rubles. But you can have a cloud and a reliable cloud partner that can help you scale up your infrastructure, and you pay only for what you use, and it will be cheaper and faster. So at the end of the day, cybersecurity indeed should be looking at how you make this secure. And importantly, it can be done much faster. You can start using it tomorrow, and you can run your experiment not 6 months from now, but tomorrow.
А я, вы знаете, как здесь мне вот вопрос, когда ставится, вот кибербезопасность, это сразу...
When I hear about cybersecurity, I hear we need to close everything and no data should leave the perimeter. But when you're doing something new, once again, you don't have an out-of-the-box solution that you just install and everything is running fine. You will inevitably have mistakes, and you need to have some tolerance to these mistakes. You need to use the mistakes for learning, but you shouldn't use it to limit, to restrain, to put barriers for companies, for infrastructure, because it will slow down progress. Another thought, speaking of cybersecurity, I've recently had a discussion with our IT security team, and IT security is about bots fighting among themselves. Fraudsters can use all kinds of data sets, all kinds of models, and they're using them for their attacks. Our security should be on par with them. If you have prohibited everything and then the fraudster uses some latest development to attack you, you will fail. You will not be able to repel the attack. And then again, you need to make AI-based solutions, GigaChat, Alisa, ChatGPT, and the rest available to your employees. I'm talking about our experience. You can slap them on their wrists and say, don't go there, don't use that. But what we do is that we have about 80% of employees using these AI-based solutions daily. We have our internal solution that is an aggregator of all kinds of models, and then you go there to use our model, or you can use a model by Yandex or Sber. And as soon as you try to transmit business-sensitive data, they get all kinds of notifications and alerts. No, you cannot transmit that data. So that's our workaround. You can use anything, but there is this initial filter that gives you recommendations. Please do not upload, do not transmit any critical sensitive data. And that becomes a habit. More and more people are getting accustomed to it, and yes, it improves our efficiency. The topic of cybersecurity is a very important one, increasingly important one. It's not a premium, it's a crucial responsibility. There is this agent fever emerging, and we will have social engineering of an unimaginable scale. So yes, we do need to do cybersecurity in the same responsible manner as we do everything else. Sex security, in our case, is a part of AIJ, a part of other technological processes. And also, I think that as AI develops, cybersecurity is becoming a much more important challenge, a much more interesting area for mathematicians, for talented young people, and maybe it will be even more prestigious. It's a cutting-edge area with more and more innovations. So we do need to focus on it as much as on aggressive technology development. Half of the audience here presumably supports cybersecurity passionately, and the other half is more liberal about it, judging by the applause. What about the industry partner, Vasily? I have a different perspective. There is this constant war between IT and security. IT and S, you mean? Yes, they cannot do without each other. But that said, despite this war, as a person who is with the IT crowd, not the S crowd, I would like to put on a different hat. There is the question about what data you can transmit to the cloud, yes, and then security can say, give us a list of types of information that we need to keep secure, and then we'll give you the secure measures. And so you go to business and ask them what sensitive data is for you, for your area. So my observation is that it's the business people who are more rigid about this. The first thing they say is we can't transfer any kinds of data. All data are sensitive. Okay, but what if we anonymize it? What if we use masks, etc.? Another observation is, can you ask AI to make a decision and then roll back? Two aspects to it. In a lot of areas, you can do a co-pilot. You can use a co-pilot. The AI suggests something. I review it as a human being, and then I correct if necessary. So it can be a sort of post-control, post-review. If the price of the mistake is not horribly high, I can do selective review and see if AI has been making good decisions. And then the price of a mistake is very high. You need human involvement at each step of the way to guarantee security. A designer of any technological capacity clearly includes foolproof means. It has measures that protect you against all kinds of risks and mistakes. Yeah, it's not that simple to just push a button and everything collapses. And lastly, I think it's about a psychological barrier. Many companies have this bias against clouds. I think it's becoming less and less of a problem. You can use a pre-configured platform, cloud-based platform, and many people are opting for that instead of building something in-house. And also what people are learning and learning to use more and more is when you get a standard mechanism, it reduces the number of arguments between the IT crowd and the security crowd. Thank you.
Давайте поставим здесь многоточие. Или кто-то еще хочет высказаться?
Let's put a pin on it for now, or maybe someone else has a comment. It's an explosive subject. It is indeed. Another explosive subject is finance, maybe not as much as cybersecurity, but still. It's commonplace, and Tigran described it, I think, not in our companies, obviously, but in some other companies, a person comes to you and says, I want to run an experiment, I have this great idea, a neural network, it will ignite, it will be great, give me some money for this. And the answer usually is, come back next year. We don't have the budget for it just yet. My question for the participants of the session is rather straightforward. How do your companies make these decisions? You specifically are the people who have to answer these questions, who make investment decisions. How do you make them? Based on your take on the efficiency of AI, and what would you recommend to people to executives who are only beginning to make decisions on AI and for whom an investment of 50 million rubles is a material one.
Да, с Андрея, да, начнем. Андрей, как вы в Сбербанке принимаете?
Andrey, yes, how do you do it at Sberbank? Please, let us all know. I have this thing to give me a hint,
Согласен с этим. Это вот, кстати,
a rule book,
хорошая штука,
a
которая
case
сделали
book.
компания
Yes, it's a
Альянс
great
отдельно
thing.
спасибо
The alliance companies helped publish this book. We would like to thank Alfa-Bank and Yandex, and Sber contributed as well. This is about how you convince the CFO
в финансовых эффектах. Но,
that AI gives financial effects. But life is usually more complicated than that, and usually we make decisions not just based on a leaflet. And this book, this rule book, combines all of our collective experience. But still, we have a certain threshold where we decline projects that do not meet our criteria, but criteria can vary, right? I have some practical recommendations. In order to progress towards economic effect and profit, and ROI is a fundamental investment if you want to invest in your own fundamental models. No, sorry to interrupt. If you want to train your own foundation models, the recommendation is do not do that. Use the ones by Yandex or Sber or some other models. Train them, fine-tune them, but do not train your own basic model. Yes, thank you for that. So that's the first threshold. Just don't do it. And there's this other thing: how do you evaluate the effect? How do you decide whether to invest in it or not? Two perspectives. First, how do you estimate the effect? How much will it give you? Very often there are cases where you will not know unless you try. In this case, you need a hypothesis, and then you use statistical methods for comparison. You need some ground truth, where you know how much it costs you to do something today. If you don't know it, you won't be able to assess the potential effect from implementing something. This needs to be some basic truth. You test it, and then you see whether technology gives effect. We have this complicated discussion on tools for developers. With certain metrics, we know how many hints we can create, how many lines of code you can write. What is the effect on the economy? One of the approaches that we've been using is we measured two teams with the same skills, how much time it will take them to perform a task with or without the system agents. And then we drew conclusions with a certain sampling that, yes, there is an effect, and we know how to measure. We can make decisions based on it.
So you can make research, you can make comparisons and internal A/B tests, but you need to know how much does it cost today. The second story is a bit more complicated, but it is inherent with any technological transformation stage. If you have one process and you want to improve it and speed it up, you'll get an increment. But sometimes it is measured by point something percent. So if you're talking about tens of percents, that's a lot. Why the process is not changed? Because, well, it's the same. Yes, some of the stages of the process were removed or made more or less costly, but the nature of the process is the same. On the other hand, when you start to fully redesign how to do it, if you are able to do it as an autonomous generative system, but then you have to rethink the entire process, how the product is built, how to make it totally different from the very start. And this is where we can have effects, and we can see it in several areas. You have multiple fold effects, and you can do something that you were not able to do before. Billions of rubles of effect was the effect of some of the projects. We were not being able to physically do that because we needed armies of employees really a lot of employees, and then we started to do it with generative AI, and we got that great value. So, are you adding something with AI to the existing process, or are you building them from scratch based on AI? Thank you very much. Very exciting. Budget process, and you say like, okay, you're removing some initiatives from the list of the budget with your pen or your pencil. Should I be honest or not? No, of course not honest. Well, we have models with A/B tests. Every project gives us billions. Oh, well, it's the same for us. Yeah, everything works great. I think it's more of an art rather than the science. It's maybe management science, but how do we distribute technology investments? 73% of all investments this year in technologies are AI-related projects, tens of billions of rubles. And then, the longer the technology lives, the more precise the metrics are in the calculations. Well, that's what's required. And on the early stage, I have this rule. I say, okay, if a developer has a better productivity of plus 5%, how much money will we get? Well, this will be the amount of money we will win. Okay, let's go and do it then. And when you cannot calculate it, at least approximately, I mean, those who just started to invest in AI, they are lagging behind. But you can calculate that value that AI will bring. I think the strategic management task is to put these strategic tasks. It's great that Sber and Yandex are producing their LLMs, as well as T-Bank, who is tuning the Chinese models, Chinese LLMs. I'm sorry if it sounded condescending, I think it's just a different way. Yeah, I think it's an effective way, absolutely, because the results are good as well. There are only 3 companies in Russia who use Chinese models or American models. Our Alfa-Bank platform is using that, and we cannot afford not doing it. Have we calculated the ROI? Well, never. But on the strategic level, you understand, okay, we need to invest this amount of money, but you can't calculate the ROI. When the technology just starts in its lifespan, you can't really understand what its contribution is going to be. But after some time, yeah, you can calculate the metrics and the ROI. Great experience, thank you. Stanislav? Well, first of all, we don't have budgets. You don't have a budget? Yeah, this process when you remove something from the budgeting list with a pen, this is how our company works. Secondly, we have discussed information security, and we said, okay, this is not secure, that is not secure. If the finances are not calculated properly, you can burn millions of rubles with AI. Even a junior employee can just, burn through 100 million rubles with AI. But, it's great that large companies exchange experience on how to measure the efficiency of AI and how to calculate properly what are the approaches to make sure there are no mistakes. And if we talk about how we make decisions, basically there are 2 effects of AI implementation. Direct efficiency. We're a large company with a lot of transactions and operations and clients, and we have a constant change process, so the improvement of unit economy, and thanks to AI, we can improve that constantly. And our rule is simple: all investments that we put in this year should have an ROI next year. So every year we have to have a return on the investments of the previous year, and we have been living within this paradigm for the last 10 years, and it works. I'm sorry, but okay, you started to develop almost your own LLM. Do you expect to have a return on that investment next year? Well, first of all, we haven't started developing our own LLM model. We're not so rich. Well, first of all, they don't have the budget. Right, yeah, so we took an American model, then we closed it, then we took another American model, then took a Chinese model, trained it for the Russian language, and, it kind of did the job. But training model is very complicated and very expensive, and, it's billions, might be even trillions. So it's a fancy thing to do. So, we took a model, we tried to train it. Fine-tuning the model is much easier than developing a new one. But the approach is that, okay, next year we should have a return on that. And it kind of works. If you look at the expenses, they're increasing, they're doubling every year, but we still see the effect. So the direct operational expenses are saved. An example to prove that there is some life there is some potential. But it's great when this technology delivers a new product. This paradigm shifts, creates new products, and here it's really hard to make a decision because you have to jump over your head. You're going to make a product, and it's going to be popular, and these investments are going to be returned to you. Now, this is more difficult, but we were able to make such leap forwards. Not always do we succeed. But we have this culture in the company that people are not castigated if they make an error. But if you increase the expenses twofold, but you will have a return next year, then you can do that and to drive the business. Oh, Stanislav, since he's a very humble guy, he actually initiated this methodology and this panel. This is true, Stas. Thank you very much for that. Tigran, I don't think we have a lot of time, but I'll be quick. I think that we're discussing education. Education is very expensive. Very large companies are working on the education. I think those who are here, they are concerned about how to use AI. And if you are not able to create a lot of problems by yourself, like cybersecurity and other things, let's just give a check for 50 or 100 million rubles and you just connect it, and for 1,000 rubles you got the access right now to the cloud-based Russian or non-Russian services, and there's like a lot of free stuff as well, and you started to experiment. And that's very important. I think the main problem, the main barriers are human-related. First of all, we discussed security. That was the first topic. Secondly, people are concerned. They're concerned with what? Automation is given to people who are proficient in some area. And, people are saying, okay, Alexander, automate what you do. And you think, okay, well, if I'm going to automate my job, maybe as a captain you're going to be removed and automated, being the last one. But they say, okay, you have automated this function, just remove 20 or 30% of the team. So yes, if you did something, there is a success, and then immediately there's a concrete wall in front of you. So you have to change and break this mentality in the companies. I don't have a recipe on how to do that. And in Yandex, we have this problem as well. It's kind of obvious. We're all humans. And so you're kind of thinking whether you do need to automate this thing or maybe not. Maybe it will threaten me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, Stas. Well, just that we don't have enough money. That's why we just do train in ready-made models, Chinese models. And yesterday, Sber announced that it will put its models to open source. There's not a lot of companies in Russia, even in the world, who can develop their own models. So the fact that there is the open source models that are being made available and that are fine-tuned for Russia, for Russian language. This is a boost for people to have some effect and to fine-tune these models and to have the effect on their business. So yeah, you can test drive this, and you can make some errors. Some errors. It's easy for us to talk about errors, because if we make an error in our financial industry, maybe no one will notice. And what about you? In chemical engineering, chemical production, if you make an error, might lead to some major consequences. Well, since AI is a priority, the higher the level of the top management made in a decision, the more prioritized it gets. So we created a special high-level committee, and we make decisions there. It is categorized in three categories. Like, for example, there are some projects that help to decrease the expenses on the logistics or procurement. And, I mean, these are the projects with understandable business case. The second category are enablers, like smart search, when we say, okay, we believe in the fact that if employees will have access to the information to other parts of organization, it would be very good for them. It will be very effective. And the third one is infrastructure. I have already told you how we made it, how we make it less costly. But we're not creating our own models. It's not a lot of money that we invest in that, so it's not a pain for an organization. Thank you very much. We have just 5 minutes left, and the large topic that is called the strategy. And here we're talking about the organizational structure and the KPI. Let's boil it down to that. How do you need to change the organizational structure? What KPIs do you need to put to make the AI implementation work? Let's start with you, Tigran. 1 minute. Well, no recipe here, no silver bullet. All organizations are different. It's a hard question how to change the organizational infrastructure, but based on my experience, you have to have a pressure from the top. As Vasily said, the top management should be committed and want it themselves. They should not, they should walk the talk, really, and be very driven. So that's the top-down pressure that should be present. Then through some tools, it should go to KPIs. There should be some recruitment limits. The professions, the jobs that should be automated should not get these new people. Like when someone wants to increase the membership of their team, the headcount of their team, their actions, their activities should be assessed. Within the company, there should be the goal to create an infrastructure so that the company can make these experiments. If you don't have that infrastructure, if you immediately fall down, then nothing will be achieved. This year, for 2025, we have a special award to the employees for various optimizations that managers, supervisors can give this money award to an employee if they implemented some optimization. Neural geese is something that we have a special award, non-monetary award. If you have done a project for optimization or creating a new product or some new process optimization, and we have an award ceremony, and people are upvoted, and these are the tools that are needed. And the last thing is that you have to keep abreast of what is happening in the world, because we are just at the start of the journey. We have the problem of the white sheet. You have a paper, you have a pen, you don't know what to write. And it's like a computer with no files in it. Thank you, Stanislav. Okay, I'll be quick. The top management have to believe in this technology, because if they do not know how to use these technologies, the competition will eat them up. The young people have to be involved and give them the right for experiments and tests. You have to be tolerant to their errors because you can't do without trials and errors, and you need to start with the high school, with the first years at universities. You give some tasks, because if a young person joined your team, they're open. They have an open mind, and they can make a company more of an AI-oriented company. Thank you. I do agree with all of the words of the previous speakers. The most important thing is that we have AI in action committee. This is the committee with a lot of weight, actually used. I mean, we have been living through this AI trend for a couple of years, but as Tigran is saying, this is just the start. So we're not talking about some specific KPIs, but we have a common excellence center. The head of this block of this section is going to sign some memorandum, I think. So everything related to that is concentrated there. It's like an octopus system, you know, with a big head and the tentacles everywhere. And then this, everyone is talking about that. Everyone is getting some achievements, getting the money for an AI-enabled project is much easier than for any other projects, and everything is going from down to top as well. And all the initiatives in AI are supported. Thank you. Well, we are experimenting as well, but I would be bureaucratic. And I will say that we have organized a specialized board meeting, and we said that in the personal goals of every member of the board, there will be 2 KPIs in AI. First one is the implementation of initiatives, and secondly, implementing AI in their teams, how many people have gone through AI training and how many tools are used. KPIs is the backbone of everything. Andrey, what about Sberbank? Well, it's hard to answer this question to you. I'm going to share this with the audience. I think that Sber has gone through all the stages, through all the options and variants. And I think AI in Sber, I mean, Alexander has been an active champion for that. We had very decentralized models across businesses. Everyone in siloed businesses were doing siloed models. Then the models were more centralized, so we're changing the approaches. So we went through various options, and we have another evolution stage right now, the transformation. We understood that these solutions becoming more mature. We have a special team that is focusing on fundamental models, and here we're talking about the implementation on the market for the retail and corporate customers. I mean, there's no organizational model that you should use. For every stage, you need to reconfigure and assess what level of maturity are you at, what problems do you want to solve right now, and then to adapt the organizational structure and the model and the KPIs.
We like the KPIs very much, or not really, depending on the circumstances, but what's important is to avoid being static. The world is so dynamic and changing all the time that you cannot expect everything to go according to your forecast. And another effect that I think we need to take advantage of is we need to lower the threshold for entry as much as possible. The lower it is, the higher the chances are to develop technologies that will be changing our organizations and our products for the benefit of clients and people. Dear participants, dear friends, thank you for this conversation. I still have a lot of questions for you. I think, as all of you do, we meet with the colleagues very, very often, and we can spend hours and hours debating these things. There are a lot of interesting issues that we can discuss, and it's great that we have this platform of the conference to exchange our opinions. I encourage everyone to join the alliance, and if it is impossible for you for some reason, you can participate in thematic discussions, which is a much more friendly format. Valeria, the CEO of the alliance, is here today. She will be happy to help you with all kinds of organizational issues. We gather together as alliance members to discuss the most pressing issues. This great methodology book is the result of all the insights that we've collected, that we've garnered from all these productive discussions. Thank you very much, and hope to see you back. Your round of applause for Alexander Vedyakhin, Tigran Khudaverdian, Stanislav Bliznyuk, Vladimir Verkhoshinsky, Vladimir Nomokonov, and Andrey Belevtsev. Thank you very much for the session. We will continue very shortly while the speakers are leaving the stage. Let me remind you that tomorrow we will have day 3, the closing day of the conference, AIJ 2025. This will be the day dedicated to science. We will hear from AI experts on the latest developments and innovations in AI, and 3 award ceremonies. Today, after this short break, we will move on to the national award ceremony for the biggest contributions in AI. We will reconvene at 18:10 Moscow time.